Hello everyone, my name is Jessica Milner and I'm the PLC lead for grades 6 through 12 for chorus. And today we're going to be talking about classroom management techniques. Now, this is specifically things you probably tried, things you're thinking about trying, visual aids. We're going to discuss how classroom management directly affects your progress, your productivity of your rehearsals, and how classroom management affects student not only student like attentiveness, but just their excitement and their autonomy in the class. So let's get started and let's talk about classroom management techniques. Okay, so first we're going to talk about materials for the classroom. Now, I decided to do this first because if you're walking to, like, if you're, especially if you're a new teacher, and you have a brand new classroom and it's completely empty and it's your blank slate, from the teacher before, the year before, what do you want to showcase in your room that sets not only the positive learning environment that you want to have, but also structure? Students, kids love structure, love routine, they love procedure because they know what to expect, and it takes away a sense of, like, I guess, anxiety and anxiousness of, like, what is it, what's to be expected in this class. So we're going to talk about materials for the classroom. First, visual aids such as bulletin boards, flyers, posters, and newsletters help us to communicate the behavioral expectations of the classroom. I don't know, your class may or may not have a bulletin board and may have a whiteboard. Most schools have whiteboards, a smart board, whatever. But whatever place or wall that you choose to post any kind of visual, make sure that it is positive. It states some kind of goal or objective. Um, it may state the rules, behavioral expectations, how we treat one another in chorus, your family, different, you know, we always try, never give up. Whatever your philosophy is for your classroom, make that a visual aid. Um, I will say that sometimes we get caught up in just like producing the product or the music or the performance or the concert or the show. But you got to take into consideration also things that are going to help your students. So one of the things that I like to use is glow and grow time. So set aside a time during rehearsal where we sit in a circle. I find that it's easier for me and my choir to see each other and one another. We all sit in a circle rather than in different sections, because in sections and sectionals you're still divided. But circle time, as I like to call it with my high schoolers, is we're all on the same playing field. We're all on the same eye level, and you get to sit next to your friends that aren't in the same section. So glows and grows. Let's start with. We usually start with grows, places that in the rehearsal that we can grow. I use this as a time for score study. I take it out the door sometimes to see where they're assessing musically where we are in the rehearsal stages. We'll take our music, we'll go to measures, we'll go to pages, and literally with our pencils circle things like, okay, we can grow here, we can grow here, talking about dynamics, musicality, pitches, rhythm, consonants, diction, cutoffs, entrances, being very, very specific. And then also teaching them how to communicate. This is time for me to be able to communicate and teach them how to communicate um, about how we sound or an ideal sound instead of just, it was good, we could have been better, so that gives me that time. It's about 5 or 6 minutes. And then the glows. So positive praise. I love that. Not only is it like, oh, a goal that was set before is now accomplished now. That so as the students and as classroom and as myself, we all can, like, oh yeah, we did this. But we can give shout outs to certain singers in the section as well as certain um, places where we felt like they were struggling and they're not struggling anymore. So I like to use this kind of concept to kind of take a break in the rehearsal, and especially if you have one of those strenuous rehearsals and you're just like going nonstop, then all of a sudden, like, you're like, you know what, we're nearing the end. Let's take a second. Let's take a breather. Do this after a concert. Do this as the next day, or the next 2 days later after GHP, or I'm sorry, LGPE, large group performance evaluation. When you guys sit down and discuss that. So, consequences should be clearly displayed and executed when needed. I've had the privilege of sitting in, observing, talking to, interviewing, picking the brains of multiple teachers throughout this year. And a lot of the times in classroom management, places where they struggle, new teachers especially, and some veteran teachers, is that their consequences aren't clearly displayed and they're not reinforced. Certain behaviors in the classroom aren't being redirected, and so other students feel as though those misbehaviors can go without being punished, and then that starts to, it's a snowball effect, and then by the time you need to by the time you need to redirect it, it's like, oh well, this wasn't put in place from the beginning, or you didn't tell her to do that, for example. So consequences should be displayed, executed. Always explain why, the reasoning, especially if you're teaching middle school and high school. Just give them a small reason why, like, this is why this consequence fits this infraction. Avoid using mindless repetition as a form of consequence. Avoid having um, like write 100 times "I will not chew gum in class," or write me a 2-page paper on the importance of not chewing gum and things like that. There are different ways to um, redirect or reiterate the behavior you want to see, rather than um, having them do writing. You never want to use writing as a punishment, because students will correlate writing later on as being a punishment, and not truly enjoy it. Never discipline the entire class for one student's behavior. This may seem simple, but this is a huge infraction that I see and notice a lot. And to be quite frank, when I was a new teacher, I did this too. You get frustrated, students aren't singing, some students are distracted, some are on their phones. You're trying to figure out how to juggle and maintain attention on all sides. And then all of a sudden, it's like, well, you know what? Everybody pack up. No fun Friday. Everybody pack up. Da 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 da. Like, oh, everyone's gonna sit here in silence. I'll wait. You know what I'm saying? So we'll do those things to kind of discipline the entire class, or, oh, you know what? Y'all don't want to sing today? We're all gonna do worksheets. Or we're all gonna do music theory worksheets, or we're gonna do workbook work. No, no, not a good idea. Don't punish the entire the class, because there are a lot of students in there that want to be there. And my advice, to be quite frank, because I've had disruptive students in my classes before who just was like, I don't feel like singing, so I'm gonna make it really difficult for everybody else to sing. Ignore them the best way you can, and focus on the students giving you the behavior you want to see, and pour into those students, because you need to reiterate that. So never discipline the entire class for one student's behavior. Always reward and reinforce good behavior. And so whatever it may be with you in your class, like when I was, oh, sorry, when, no. Okay, so the last thing was like a fun Friday. When I was a teacher, I had we had show off Fridays. We also had wonder beads and all kinds of things. So whatever their the thing that they like to do, whatever their reward system is, use that. Okay. Rehearsal management is key to productive rehearsal. Your frustration is due to your toleration. With that being said, That is one of those things that I feel like either just you deal with it and by deal with it I mean you address it then and there in rehearsal, or it's going to be a problem continuously. Reinforce and redirect proper rehearsal etiquette when necessary. What is proper rehearsal etiquette? One may say, um, following daily routines and procedures. Your daily routine and procedure could be coming in, getting your pencil, getting your music, putting your book bag away, coming quietly, making sure you have water, making sure you're sitting in the proper position, getting started on your bell ringer, warm up, icebreaker, whatever you like to call it. Those are rehearsal etiquette, following daily routines, not talking while the director is instructing. May seem simple, but I noticed this in a lot of musical parts because they're just, they're talkers, they're singers. And see, have a way of giving them something to do. Hey guys, why don't you guys practice silently the pitches, diction, work on memorization, turn to your neighbor and this, that, and third, but give them something, and by something manageable for that few minutes of time while you are while you are instructing another section. Be respectful of sections while they receive individualized instruction. I've noticed and seen a lot of instructors and directors get frustrated because the soprano's talking while you're working with the altos, the tenors are talking while you're working with the sopranos, and it can be a lot. But once you have like leaders in place, once you have like different set expectations of how the students should act in class, everyone will be respectful of other sections and won't talk or make it difficult while others are singing. Student-led sectionals are helpful, but that does come with some training. So a lot of the times, if you are blessed with a student in your class that can read the piano, that can play and sing, or play while they sing, or play it correctly in the right timing, absolutely use those students for student sectionals. And pacing is key to engagement. Do not take too long to work on one piece. Do not work on one piece for the entire class or entire lesson. Keep it fun, keep it fast, keep it engaging. Quick, but not too quick to where you're moving too fast without them and nothing's really sticking. But definitely not slow enough where they feel bored. And always try to end rehearsals on a good note, especially if you're doing sight reading, if you're doing any kind of sight singing, introducing a new song. If you're introducing a new song, always try to leave rehearsal on a good note. And sometimes that happens a lot, and sometimes it doesn't. And if in rehearsal, you guys did not reach that goal, whether it be learn the correct pitches and rhythms of a new song or this certain piece of a song, you definitely have that opportunity to do it. You have the opportunity at the end of class to give positive affirmation and to build the confidence in your choir that we're gonna do it tomorrow. So always try to end rehearsal on a good note. All right, guys, that is part one of classroom management techniques. Thank you guys so much for joining me today, and I will see you guys next time for part two.